Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are now on start of the month. Month 1, day 12? Yeah, day 12, right? Yeah. Yeah, losing track here. Okay, cool. So, anyway, welcome back to the stream. Glad to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so it's been a great couple of days. How about we just go back and real quickly summarize what we got done in the last stream. Yeah, man, we got a lot of the actual game functionality built out, which is really cool. It was a lot of fun. I felt like I finally, started to get the language. I think I made reference to the fact that a lot of people when they talk about learning Clojure, or getting started with Clojure, just getting comfortable and familiar with it, that they say oh, it was pretty crazy for the first couple weeks, but then in week 3 I started to get it, or after a month of working in it I was feeling really productive and confident with it, and I was always just a little bit skeptical about that because, there's all kinds of functional programming concepts that you have to get in your head if you're going to work effectively with the language. Requires a extremely different style of working. I mean, you can just see that from the code, right? I mean, what other language has code like this? It's fairly alien if you're used to working in something like Java, Ruby, JavaScript, C++, something like that. So it's fairly bizarre language. So yeah, I didn't really think I would get to the point that I'm getting to so quickly. I already did have a lot of functional programming experience, and I had a lot of experience with this library I keep bringing up over and over again, Ramda.js. This was my introduction to Lispy ideas. I think they actually make... Yeah, exactly. They actually make reference to Clojure in the philosophy section of the documentation, which was my first introduction to it. It was this library just completely blew my mind the first time I experienced it. And I was reading it over, and I was like, ooh, what are they talking about? These guys have interesting ideas. I better go look into this thing. And that was my exposure to the language in the first place. So yeah, anyway, really happy. Anyway, well, what was I saying? I have a lot of experience with kind of the Lispy, Clojure way of thinking, but yeah, I've been very glad to start to get genuinely comfortable with the code, and especially when it comes to just pure code that doesn't depend on a library, right? What I require in here, pretty print, and the rest of this is just Clojure utility methods and straight simple code that doesn't really depend on a library. So yeah, no, it's been a very nice development this week. So anyway, how about we get a quick demo of what we can do so far. So we've got a few functions. We can create a game. If we check out create game, this will create a game object and state that will add the host as the first player. So when you log in, you can create a game, and that will give you a game code and add you as a player to the game. So after you create a game, you can register a player. So after the host has created a game, they get a game code, they can send it out to the players, and the players join. And then we've got code for incrementing a round. So that will increment the round from round 0 to round 1, round 2, so on and so forth. And yeah, we've got a handful of things on top of that, right? We can get the movie title for a given round. We can get the movie plot for a given round. We've got this thing called game state starter. We've got a couple of utility functions for getting plots and movies out of the simple object we're working with. So yeah, let's just run the code real quick and see what it looks like. So anyway, after running all those functions, we get this object, which is a Clojure atom. That's kind of like a stateful thing you can put variables that change into. And so we get an object, and then this object can have multiple games in it. I mean, if we did create game Larry, reloaded this code, we'd get like the first game and then the second game. So I called Andy first and then Larry second. So we've got Andy's game here, Larry's game second. Both have a random four-letter code. And yeah, we're seated with like a round index, the name of the host, the list of players. So in this particular game, we've registered one player so far, but for Larry's game, he's the only player since no one else has joined. We've got a random set of game plots in a random order. So here's the 39 Steps, It's Wonderful Life, Ghostbusters. Here's the 39 Steps, Wonderful Life, and The Aviator. There are only 4 movies, so obviously you get more randomness if we had a longer list of movies. Let me see here. And then we've got the movies themselves. So these are the titles and their real plots. And that's what we've got so far. So yeah, we've got the rudiments of this thing. What we need is a way for players to submit their own plots, for players to vote, and for the game to track the votes that like a player got. So there's a fair chunk of functionality that we still need to get taken care of. But before we get too deep into like coding the actual game, what I want to do is start porting over our vanilla Hiccup and Tailwind templates into React and Reagent components. So you may recall last week, if you've been watching the stream, that we got kind of stuck on WebSockets. We couldn't figure them out, so we took a break from like the WebSocket code since it was like becoming kind of frustrating, and just like coded out the templates for the game screens. So we've got those all ready to go, but they are currently in just like static template files, and what they should be is components. So we're going to take those, put them into reagent components. That should be like not a big deal since it's the same syntax between both. And then after we do that, we're going to take another dip into the pool of WebSockets and start hooking up our game logic functionality into the actual front-end code. So that's going to be really exciting. And yeah, just to summarize what that process is going to be like. So we're looking at this like state CLJ file. I mean, I'm going to rename that to maybe like game Clojure or something like that. So we've got all our functions in here, and they live in this like kind of perfect pure inviolate realm that doesn't really interact with the outside world. And what we have the rudiments of is some handlers for WebSocket connections. So if you're not familiar with WebSockets, it's like an instantaneous communication system for messages like from a server and to a server. So you might be familiar with like HTTP methods like get, put, post, and those will send like one message, and you kind of like send a message back and forth, and it only happens like one at a time and only at the point where you send a message. But a WebSocket is instantaneous, and it communicates on the basis of these like IDs. So for various events in your WebSockets, you can say like, oh, the WebSocket sent me a message that said the connection was closed, or that the connection was opened, or it pinged the server. So it sent a little message saying like, hey, the world is crazy, and I'm not sure we're still connected. Are we like still connected? And the WebSocket says like, yes, we're still connected. You've still got this connection. So those are kind of the default like WebSocket things, and then you can define your own IDs. So I wrote this one, which is like register, which I'm intending to hook up to create game. Yeah, register. So this is going to be a process where you choose a name, you send that request over a WebSocket to the server with this ID, and then it's going to, instead of just printing out the data that came along with that particular WebSocket message, it's actually going to call this function and update the state. So we're going to do that from the front end instead of doing it just with code like in this file and in the REPL. So that's going to be the process. And yeah, we'll see how far we get on that. I've got no idea what to expect, having never done WebSockets before. But our mantra this morning is going to be keep side effects on the outside. And so what do I mean by that? Well, how about we copy this back in? I'm thinking I want to put like these show notes up on the blog. It's like I drop a lot of links and make a lot of references, and I think people would like to see them. So I think that'd be a good idea. But anyway, when I say keep side effects on the outside, you can actually see this a lot better in the thumbnail for this video. I'm referencing this talk, Boundaries by Gary Bernhardt. And so the idea here is that we've got this like nice pure code over here, right? Like this is all just taking maps, returning maps, performing these transformations on objects with like, you know, very few effects. Like we only update the game state atom like at a couple points, and only when we like absolutely need to, but otherwise it's all just like pipelines of like pure functional code. And that's really nice because it allows you to avoid all kinds of bugs that come with mutating like variables and objects and other things in your program, which if you've got like too much of that going on, that can be extremely confusing and like challenging to work with after a certain time. So it's really good to like have pure code in general. But when you start to get into this thing where you are like, you know, hooking things up to the outside and getting data from like real people, like from the real world, real users, you get all kinds of stuff that you don't expect. Like the basic idea would be like if you get like a string instead of a number. So if we're going to say like plus, well, I don't know if this actually works in Clojure. Let's find out. Plus 2 and 3. Oop. No. I don't know if that was actually what I'm trying to do. Plus 3, plus 2, and 2. So in JavaScript, that'd be 4, because the addition function in JavaScript will cast that string 2 into the number 2. But say we had a simple function that was like adding 2 numbers and we got a string instead of a number. That's like totally possible because things out there in the real world are kind of weird, and we get a Java execution error in the case of Clojure. So real world is weird, and it like kind of forces you to like take all these like strange things into effect. Like you know, what if we got like nil plus nil into execution error again? So you can't really count on you know, sending your program out into this like, you know, perfect lovely world and having it work exactly as it does when you're just like doing this kind of happy path, like pure effectless programming with you know, these like really simple inputs. But what you don't want to do is like start to put all that like defensive coding, like type checking stuff into your like pure code. So that's what this guy's talking about when he says boundaries. It's kind of a method of like having like kind of like an onion thing going on in terms of your inputs and your program and how it works. So you got kind of this outer ring where stuff coming into your program is like, you know, a bunch of random things, and it might be stuff that you don't expect. So you write all the code that like deals with all the insanity at like the outside of your program. And so by the time it makes it through that like first wall, that first layer of the onion, you get down to the second point, and that's where, or you know, second, third, fourth layer. And that's where all your like nice, pure, simple, easy to read, easy to follow, easy to write, easy to maintain code lives. And you don't have to worry about the inputs or, you know, guarding against, you know, unexpected input, because like you already did that on your messy, nasty outside layer. So yeah, as we like integrate our nice code with the real world, I'm sure we're going to experience problems like that. But what we should do is we should keep side effects and nasty code on the outside. So I really want to keep this simple. I don't want to like make this more complicated or like weirder or harder to read. So yep, that's going to be our goal for today. Great. Boundaries talk. And with all that being said, let's get started on our day. Close this. Okay, loose agenda. Yeah, so let's start with port over a registration screen to React, and then send a WebSocket message for registration from React to backend. Alright, so this is a screen where you can sign up as a host and register a game. So we're going to put that over into our app, and then we're going to send a simple WebSocket message from the front end to the back end just to make sure that, like, you know, A, we have our page up, and B, it works. So let's get started. And where we start is here. So yeah, we've got like app, clients. This is like our WebSocket client. Yeah, and what I've got so far is like this big set of templates in this big file. And it's probably not going to be great to keep them all in that big template file, so I think what I'm going to do is like add a folder called pages. And we're going to make a new file called, what do I call this? Voting page, truncates, results, login, sign up. I think this is index. Game lobby. User settings, winner. I think it was index screen. Yeah, that was it. Okay. So let's copy over index screen first thing. Game register. Great. All right. So we got that up. And let's import it or require it. Example.frontend.pages.register game for register game. Instead of, right, so that's just a function, that's a button, this is a page. So instead of rendering that page, let's render this. And required namespace. Example front end clients. Register game. Still not totally comfortable with the whole namespace thing in Clojure. So on the one hand, it seems like kind of simple, but on the other hand, I get these kind of weird errors sometimes. So I don't know what to think about that. Front end configuring build. I also don't know how to like get the front end REPL into Calva, because it always tells me no browser REPL available. Build failure. The required namespace, example, front end pages, register game. So I wonder if I got something spelled wrong. And if we just change the slashes to dots, get rid of this. Example front end pages registering game. spell it wrong? Getting off to a great start, aren't we? What am I doing wrong here, man? Namespace doesn't require anything. Example, front-end pages, register game. Ah, it's the damn dashes. There's a real weird thing going on between file names and dashes and underscores. Compiling. Yeah, that's it. It like converts dashes to underscores and underscores to dashes, and I don't really understand the point of any of it, but it just happens. All right, cool. So we got that template in there, but you may notice it doesn't look that great. So what we need now is our Tailwind code. And this was a element I didn't anticipate, because if we go back to our messy landing page, which is a huge work in progress, you will see that for our front end, resources index HTML, we require it as a just normal like CSS file. So that means we need an index HTML, which we don't have here because shadows CLJS is just generating for us automatically. So now, I think I'd like to get out of shadows CLJS and into Figwheel, into the CLJ tool. Custom index HTML shadows CLJS. But I would surmise that I have not seen the last. From the shadows. Oh, is this written by the Clojure for the Brave and True guy? From the shadows? I bet it was. How about Webpack now? Oh, I hope to never touch that again. Nope, different guy. Okay, HTML. So I got build hooks. Well, to include CSS sheets regions. There's also this like include CSS function, which will like dynamically add CSS. Sortable portlets. There's an interesting link for later. wonder what the index HTML actually looks like. Head, Sente example front end. Shadow CLJS.Eden reference. Configuration. It's configured by a file in your project root directory. You can create a default one. Alright, asset path. Source paths, configures your JVM class path. Still don't know what that is. Dependencies, yep, that's okay. There's a reference over here, isn't there? Dependencies, user configuration, server options, and REPL, sockets, SSL, JVM, build hooks. Yeah, this looks pretty cool, actually. Alright, Clojure definitions, compiler options, conditional reading, overriding from the CLI, targeting the browser. The browser target produces output intended to run in a browser environment. Modules, output wrapper, cacheable output, output manifest, development supports, React Native, Node.js. Ooh, I've been very curious about this. Like, a lot of Clojure stuff when it comes to servers is, Java oriented for all the obvious reasons, but I'm very curious about running like a Node server instead of a Java server. I haven't had to like really get into the Java stuff. It just kind of like runs underneath everything. So even though it's like a Jetty server running this thing, I don't really need to know anything about Jetty in order to make something happen. But yeah, if and when I ever did, it'd be really interesting to run like a Express server instead. JS options, compiler options. Man. Include CSS hiccup. Let's try this. It's like it's been hours eating a peach. Include CSS. You know what? I had a reference for this in the old project, didn't I? So this assumes that you are writing your own head. So I wonder what would happen if I just like put that here. Probably wouldn't work, but let's give it a shot. Acquire. Yes, let's see. Detected one error. Slip it forward. Don't need include JS. If we save, does it shoot? Hiccup. Okay, here is how to require it. Let's go here and add it as a dependency. Of course, it's a different syntax. And it doesn't have this. All right. Great. So now we need to stop this because we added a new dependency. And we need to restart it in order to add our new dependencies. Yeah, I think we're paying for our indiscretion this morning. We had such a good day yesterday. And there's so many problems. Yeah, I keep on forgetting to update that. Maybe this library does only support CLJ. Maybe it does. Oh, man. This is one of the hardest things for me coming from a language in which any problem you could ever possibly have with it is just like instantly Googleable. HTML file, shadow. Now, if I was searching this on JavaScript, like if I was having this equivalent problem in JavaScript, I would immediately end up with like 10 Google answers and Stack Overflow what's-its, which like, you know, told me exactly what I need to do and where, but oh, because this is Clojure, is not that easy. Man, shadows, CLJS, HTML file. Just a bunch of pages I've been with already. Public. Oh. There the whole time. Oh, I've got a real issue with just like calmly and coolly taking my time and you know, solving my problems. Okay, so I had like a CDN link for this in one of these files, and that was over here. Layouts. Yeah, here we go. All right. I'm getting better. That's taking a while, but I'm getting better. All right, so now if we get rid of this hiccup stuff, I think this should work. Cancel. Start it again. All right. Front end build. Move that over there just a skosh. There we go. All right. Configuring the build. Node REPL, browser REPL. Can never get the REPL in here. Alright, I think we're done, yeah. Completion failed. Oh no, but that was the old page. So now if we go to the new build, we got it. Great. Stale outputs. Are you sure? I'm not so sure it's stale. I guess it was stale because now it's totally broken. Ah, right, include CSS. Still totally broken? Nope. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, we're cooking with gas. All right. We also need some of our custom CSS. Let's go back here. Let's calmly, slowly find the CSS files and copy them over. Calmly and slowly. Which ones do we need, Andy? We need global and plot input. So global. New folder, CSS, very good. Global.css. Copy in, very good. Gonna need those fonts too, but first the CSS. Plot input.css. Very nice. And fonts. I think this is going to be easiest if I do this. Alright, so there's that. Open up public and Finder as well. Alright. We're going to copy our fonts over to resources in what will become our real app. Alright. So we got that, and now we just need the actual links. Man, I've got this big wide screen, but somehow it's still like never quite enough room. Like see all my code. CSS, global CSS. And plot input CSS. All right, if we go back, Control Shift R. Great. Do we have our font? Computed. Font family. Sego UI. Do we need to do anything to like require that? Style sheet. Oh, you know what? We gave the wrong path. Yeah, it's up a level. Up on level fonts, we need a regular. I know it'll tell us if we couldn't get it. Fonts. Didn't even request it. What the hell? Don't need two of them, do we? Okay. CSS, global CSS, CSS plot inputs. And let's just do this the slightly dumb way. Move them up there. Now I can say fonts with a relative URL, and all we need to do to index HTML is get rid of the CSS. Yeah. Where do we get the font the whole time? Font family. Computed, font family, Seco UI, Noto color. Yeah, well, don't quite know what's going on there, but I don't want to get hung up on that for too long. I can debug that later. jQuery user interface, jQuery UI. It's kind of sad to get into the game later than that. By the time I started my web development career, it was all React. Alright, so we got all that stuff poured over. We got our screen up, so hey. Done. Excellent. We got it done, we got it finished. Alright. So we got our game screen in React, and now we need to send a message. Join a game, log in or sign up to host a game. Yeah, so here's a bit of assumption I made here that you would have like a username and a password. Log in or sign up to host a game. So I won't do anything with this password field. We'll keep the password field, but we won't do anything with it. So yeah, now what we need to do is update what we're doing. Game to game backend. Let's update what we're doing for the benefit of users at home and also me in the future. I'm coming back and looking at this footage. And we need to send a WebSocket message. Okay. So we got register game, and we have some functionality. We have this channel socket send, so we need to require our WebSocket stuff over in our game registration page. So we will say require all that stuff. All right. Now we need a function. We already called the component register name, so send register. Right, so we need to write that function, send that function, call that function. You know, I can't even use Calva in the front end yet. Like, I don't know how, so we're not going to. Toggle world rep, and let's see. So we're gonna need like Atom. We don't have an Atom yet. So let's go back to our reference code. Front end, source, index page, region cores are. There we go. All right, let's see if we can do this right on the first try. Nope. Not the right file. There we go. All right. Diff. Diff's the name to have the root value for the init. R Atom. Yeah, what are we gonna call this? Like host username. Defonts. It's called with one arg, but expects to. Oh. All right, so we got the host username, and yeah, let's just hook that up to its input field, right? Log in or sign up to host a game. Here's the one. All right. So we could use some new lines here for sure. Don't need no silly commas in this language. Yeah, we'll say on change. I'm gonna say resets host username with whatever they entered. Oh, wrong thing. All right, cool. So there we go. And how do I log you? Can I evaluate this right now? Host username. I can. All right. So then if we change this to hello@hi.com, can I can't. Yeah, this will be a bit of a thing to research, probably offline. How to get the JavaScript REPL working. But anyway, we could just use print line statements. Print line host. That's host username. All right, hello.com. Do we get any prints? Still no prints. Objects and oh, it's coming out in the console. Yeah, so if we do JS console log host username, still just an object, but we'll assume it's the thing we want. Okay. Right. So now we got this button, sign in, sign up. Oh, we just find the sign in button. And when we click that, bless you. Going to on click send registration message. All right. So send registration message. Alright, we're back, everybody. Yeah, so we got a username. We can do this, but we're still like getting an object. I don't know. I think it's probably a Clojure script, JavaScript kind of thing that I'm going to ignore for the time being. Right. So we got this, and now we just go back to app. We say channel socket send on the registered channel with the username. Let's call it host name just to be clear as to which name we're actually sending. Okay, so fingers crossed we can go to our backend server and we're actually going to see this message. Assuming it's running at all. Oh, it is running because we were getting broadcast messages, but yeah. iAddBackend.com. Sign in. Oh. Channel socket send. Name, host name. Is host name the thing we don't have? If we just turn it into a string. Oh man, this is line 10. Channel socket send. Refer channel socket send. Example front end client. Yeah, that's a thing. It's got the right name. If we go into app, we see that everything has been called successfully and like so. Parens are right. Data is right. ID is just an arbitrary thing. It doesn't matter what we actually send. So if we replace that code with something we know works, maybe refresh, is that the problem? Yeah, hi.com. Sign in and we get a boatload of warnings, but no errors. New state. So what's the problem? The host name? Name, host name. And so maybe it worked. I don't know. Let's head over to the server. Did we start this at all? I don't think we did. All right, server. Didn't we though? Yeah, I think we started this. Main. Da. No such var, event message handler. Got some problems in our socket file. Event message handler. Handlers. You know what? I'm pretty sure this function exists. That's another thing. I'm a little as handlers refer I'm not sure if it's linting or if it's from the language itself, but trying to like just kind of take all the functions from like one's namespace into another and require them like that frequently appears to not work. Well, in reality, oh. Okay, we goofed this up. Start again. Start it one more time. Hooking up the REPL sessions, doing the thing. Add the file to the REPL. Evaluating file main CLJ. Don't get it. Called main function. Running a port 5000. Alright, and now if we go back here, send our ish. Check our WebSockets. Man, are you sure? Localhost 5000, yep. Response. Nothing. What? Blue@hi.com. That's what we didn't have before. We didn't have a handshake. So, It's interesting. If you load the page and there is just no server running when this thing tries to like make its initial handshake, I guess the socket connection doesn't work at all. So that's something to know. Okay, so we got a ping. We sent that. Man, we still don't have the right name. Andy's entered the chat. Bad package. So I think that's because we tried to send it some weird thing. It's because I did def once. If I just define it with a normal def, will that make a difference? Okay, host username. Let's find out where this is being used. Reset host username. That's fine. We're dereferencing it when we pass it to the function. And the function just receives it as an argument and adds it to this map. Seems okay. JS console host name string what is name. Save that, build complete, refresh, back to the console, blue@hi.com. What is name? Object. Why is it an object? Bad if we send it. Still target.value, e.target.value. That's what we need. On change. Right. So this is like, let's see if I can do this from the start. .target .value hostname. Oh, nope, that was I'm never gonna remember the syntax, and I don't want to goof around. Yeah, it was this thing. This sweet little utility function. Whatever the event object is, .target.value. Okay. Now I think we have it. Sign in. Register name, empty string. Maybe it's because we didn't update. It's an object again. Reset the host name to be the evaluation of this function. Unchange. Label username. Login or sign up to host a game, so we've got the right input. Maybe a refresh. Maybe a refresh. Sometimes a refresh is what you need. All right, over here. The name is maybe a refresh.com. So hey, we sent a message. Very good, very good. Only took us an hour and a half. That's fine. Okay, so over in our handlers, we now need to call our function. Okay, so yeah, we've got our game code, we've got that atom running. Now we just need to import that file into here and then call the function when we get the message. All right. Event message handler defaults. Unhandled events. Probably not going to use this, so I'm just going to delete it. If I need it, I can go back to that repo I copied it from. Close deregister user ID. Yeah. Gonna be wild. Get rid of those two. Alright. So when we register, we need to call a function. Alright. So let's change this. Let's rename it. Game.clj. That's exciting. Alright. Example backend game. Alright, so we got everything we need, and now we just need to import this function. Require this function. Ooh, the game and handlers are right next to each other. That makes it easy. Okay. Require that namespace. Refer. What was it? It was like create game, right? Channel socket register, create game, name, data. Alright, create a game, name, data. And I think that's what we need, right? Restart. Great. Maybe a refresh.com. I don't know if the server restarts while you've got a WebSocket connection open. It won't work. So we still got that, but did we create the game? Load that namespace. Alright, still got Andy and Larry, so we didn't create the game. And I wonder why. Do we need to like load this and then restart? Connection closed 1006. Right, that's what I was talking about before. Alright, we handshook. We sent a game. The name is test@hi.com. So we're still getting our old code. We loaded handlers. Yeah, we loaded handlers into the namespace. So why are we getting the old stuff? Just say like event message handler with the ID hi data hello. If we do this, I think it should create a game. Oh, right, no matching clause. That's it. So if we call this ID channel sockets register, the name, is it possible that we've loaded the namespace? Extra input spec. Evaluation of the file failed. Yeah, you know what, maybe I... This is another thing with Clojure that like kind of goosed me up is you can write code which is just like totally wrong. Like just really like completely wrong in syntax, and it's got this whole like philosophy where if you write something that's not quite right, or at least I think I'm seeing this from the outside. I don't know actually what's going on when I make mistakes like that, but I think it's got this like philosophy where it's like fail silently and run as much as the code as like you can, given the code you've been given that works. That was not a super artful expression of that idea, but yeah, we've got like, you know, all these files which are written correctly, and then I wrote like a wrong require statement in this handlers file, and so instead of like just crashing the whole program like immediately like it might with you know, any other programming language, it just like ran the files that it knew how to run and just kind of like used the old version, like the old correctly written version of handlers that it had in memory or something, or had a reference to. So yeah, when you make mistakes, it's not always that obvious, like when you've made a mistake and what you've done. So that's something to get used to. But anyway, I feel like standing. I've been sitting for days, so how about we stand up our desk? Oh, it's stretched a little bit. Okay. So now I think we have what we need to actually make a game. We also got a bunch of stuff underneath our keyboard. Okay. What is that? Oh well. Take care of that off the stream. Okay. Create game with a name from the data, and yeah, now I think I should be able to go into main, reload main, call, restart. Restart the server, running at port 5000. Back here, refresh because we have lost our connection. Test at newgame.co. To the WebSockets pane, sign in, send the thing back to the server. No errors. If we go to handlers, or if we go to game rather. I wonder wonder if we can evaluate this inline and find out what it has. Working on the REPL's nice, but getting interrupted by these WebSocket messages is really annoying. Nothing, really. PP, print, game states. Fingers crossed that this works. Hey. Give me that. Cartoon yellow for our emojis. Slurp it forward. Restart, I'm pretty sure. Need to load it in from main. It's not opening over there. Restart server. Restart browser. ABC. Tired of typing real emails. All right. No print line. No print line. Create game with the name from the data. Create game takes a host. Do we have to load this as well after we change it? That's also something I'm a little unclear on. Like when you make a change in a file that has been required in another file, do you have to like reload all of those into the REPL? All those changes just kind of like come along. Oh, I bet we got it. If we pretty print, still nil. What? Definitely worked before. Creating game for host. Load it back in, as I guess we gotta do that. Load in the main, restart the main. Oh, not game state. Restart function. Back to the browser. Some guy. Send the message, confirm it showed up. Swap the game state with the results. I suspect it's really in there, but how do we get it? How do we get it? So let's think about this. We've got create game. We're definitely like getting the stuff, right? Like we've come this far. we've got the string name of the person we're creating it for. And we know this code works because we can do this. And we're swapping the game state with the result of calling that game state starter function. And it will persist after we call that function. So why? Maybe I need to like load this in, load main, call restart, load game into the REPL before anything happens. Oh. Alright. Game namespace is in the REPL. Back here. Somebody sign in, send the message. Back here. Print at game state. So if you have, well, hey, let's we had it working the whole time. So let's take a little moment to. Damn, man, we just did that from the internet. That's cool. Yeah, all right. Done. Thumbs up. That's a huge moment. So that's just the first piece in like actually having this game like work from the internet to the front and the back end, and man, that was a long journey. So yeah, we got it. We figured out how to verify that we did it. That's great. Cool. Okay. But now back to the mystery of why I couldn't inspect that. So we've got like the concept of like the code that's like running in here. We've got the concept of the REPL. We've got handlers we can send messages, but once we actually run all this stuff, how do we like get into see that it all worked once it's running? It's one thing you're supposed to be able to do, so I understand, is like actually REPL into running like production app and like inspect it and debug it, which like sounds really super cool, but the point of like REPLing into an app is to like not only change its code but also inspect the state of the program while it's running. Then how can you like REPL in like from a fresh session, inspect the game, load a namespace, and see what the state of its atoms are once it's loaded? Yes, we got our slightly dumb method of just like making sure the game namespace is loaded before we start to inspect stuff, but I wonder if there's like a more refined method for doing that that doesn't require so much dancing around. Oh, maybe that dumb method is just like requiring the game state atom in the main function. And there's like ways of like hot reloading a server when you make changes to. I haven't been able to get them to work for some reason, so we don't have to like always like constantly call this restart function. But what if we required the game state in our main function? So that way all we need to do is like load the main namespace, and the atom that holds our state is just going to be in there like straight away. Refer game state. And let me go on a little tangent for a second here. Def once. Clojure. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like I searched def once and there's no Clojure entries to be found. Def ones. So there's def and there's def ones. I don't really know what the point of this function is. Does the name to have the root value of the expression if the named var has no root value, else the expression is unevaluated. Does nothing the second time. Yeah, so I guess that's like a way of defining a constant. And I see people using those for atoms, but I don't really understand why they do. Anyway. But yeah, let's see if this is gonna be something that does anything at all from us. Restart. 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 Great. P print game state, game tate. We need the preprint module as well. Acquire that. Load the namespace. Server's already running, so I don't think I need to restart it. Game state, not game's state. Oh, hello, it's still in there. We restarted the server, but the code is... Oh wow, there's like a cat hunting squirrels. Sorry, I need to watch this for a second. This is super interesting. Is this really what's going on? Could I possibly get the camera in time to show you? Is it gonna go for it? Come on, cat, you can do it. I need some drama in my life. I don't think anyone's watching right now. Gonna go for it, man. It's interesting to me how animals just kind of like play these like super dangerous games with each other. It's like it's a life or death thing the squirrels are doing with this cat right now, but they're just kind of like chilling. Oh man, it's gonna go for it. Come on, cat. Be amazed if you could catch them. Nope. Ah, well. Could have been cool. Alright. Man, restarting a server, reloading code, this is all stuff I gotta get used to. Because we still have our first game from before, which is kind of weird, but anyway. Start a second game, shall we? Cat. Hunter, sign in. Oh, but we lost the connection. But we regained the connection? Oh, hello. Oh, so when you start like a new socket session, you get a new one of these. Now if we print the game state, we got 2 games. That's cool. That's really cool. All right, man. Yeah. Okay, so this works. And we got a nice way of like debugging and checking things too. So that's good development. All right, it's 10:54. We got an hour. Now what should we do? I guess there's like some error handling stuff we could do, so we could get. Have we even come that far yet, or do we just need to like solve the? Yeah, I think we just need to solve the like happy path code first. So I was gonna say we could do like checking for does this user exist? Is they a valid username? Did they try to send me an object? Did they send me a number instead of a string? But there's like so many other methods we've already written, functionality to hook up and pages to port over, that I think we should just continue with that. So let's get to it. Right, so there's like two parts to this page. There's login or sign up to host a game, and there's also join a game. So let's do that now. Yeah, and that's going to be a username and the game code. So it's actually going to be really useful that the game codes persist between like server restarts, because that's going to enable us to not have to go through like the whole flow of like creating a game when we want to add players. That's nice. Okay, so yeah, let's go back to our front end and just add that code. Join game, here we are. All right, needs new state. Def player username Adam empty string. Def game code. Also an Adam, also an empty string. We need a function. Oh, this is so exciting. Defin join game. The name and code. We are simply going to send a channel socket message. Channel socket join game. I don't think this exists yet, but it's going to soon. Name, game code. Excellent. Let's delete this. Don't need our console log no more. Cool. Alright. So when the state of the input changes, we need to set those state variables. Let's do that real quick. Yep, class ID, type, placeholder, change, an anonymous function, which is a copy paste job of this. Reset the player username with that. And same thing for the inputs. All right, unchange. Reset the game code, Adam, to whatever they put in. All right. Click, send, nope, join game. Unclick. Join game at player username at game code. Great. On the back end, we need a new handler. Channel socket register. Host game. Let's just change that real quick, because I think that's a little more descriptive for what that thing actually does. And we need a handler for channel socket join game. This is going to be join game. It's going to be name, and game code. All right, now we just refer our join game function from our game module. Let's make sure that's what it's actually called. Register player, nope. think it's probably a better policy to name our WebSocket channels after their like corresponding functions. That's going to make things a lot easier to remember, keep track of. Right. So that's create game and register player. All right. Create game, register player. You know what? I think I'm going to. What's wrong with this? 2 expects 3. Oh, right. Also need a game code. Also need a game. All right. So the game. I think the game is the game state, right? Register player, yeah, game state. So yeah, we need to pass a reference. I guess we need the game state in here too, right? Game state. And this is where the modules are going to get super weird. Register player. Did I pass in a reference when I call that function? Yeah, right. Game state name and game code. Yep. Everything is everything that we need. Let's join our dead game. Glodson. Alright, so we made a bunch of changes in handlers. We have not loaded them into the REPL. So as an experiment, let's go into main. Reload that. Restart. Print the game state. Okay, everything is as it should be. Let's join the game. Let's join the game. Let's reset. Let's join the game. There we go. Let's get an error. Yeah, but what kind of error, man? No matching case. Okay. Right. So, man, when I make like changes in a file, it's gotta be a big old pain in the ass to have to load that in every single time. There must be a better way. Alright, join game. String cannot be cast to a function. Name, game code. Alright. Oh, bad package. Ah, we. That what? You sure, man? Bad package, object. Pretty sure I just sent you a super basic object in the format that you expect. Name, object. Given that my message was formatted correctly, it strikes me as odd that I would have forgotten to get my target value. Name, code, join game. Player username, player game code. Game code, target value, so I'm getting the string out. So what? Player username, game code, yeah. Doing. String cannot be cast to a function. Name, game code. Am I calling register player wrong? Game player game code. Game player game code. Game player game code. As player to the game in state according to the game code string. Game state, string, game code, which is itself a string. So I don't think I'm calling the function wrong. I've got my syntax right. What have I done, guys? That's definitely right. That's definitely right. That's definitely right. Just for a lark, let's see what the game state is right now. So we haven't added any players. And let's send this like one more time. Join game. Name glad, game code dead. Definitely send in just a normal ass object with some strings. Did I have like old code in there? Haven't joined the game successfully. I know, we probably didn't even call that function. I was a little unsure of when to use do and when not to use do. I think in this context I do need to use do. Which is a good clue because if we can print our request, then that means our request is okay, but if we can't register player, then we know the problem lies either in the function or in the accessor thing we're doing with the data itself. Okay, there's a new connection. There's our message. Name glad. There's some more REPL practice. Def test map. Yeah, there's a hint. There we go. All right. Main test map. Glad. Game code test map. Dead. Okay. This is all well and good. Now I'm wondering, it says a string, but it's like displayed like that. So I know those two things are like definitely strings, even though they don't appear as strings in the log statement. So create a game for the player, and if we print the game state, we now have 3 games. APJP for player 1, Cat Hunter, and somebody. So we know we got the right stuff from the data, but I guess there's something wrong with this function? It's because of the game state. This will definitely break things, but for the sake of experimenting, how about we give it a shot? Reset. Restart. New connection, join the game. No error. Yes, error. Okay. Okay, so what if we just do this? Test player not from front end. Load that in. Load that in. Restart the server. Run that function. Check that the message sent. Okay. So we just tried to do it with this. So maybe we can't pass an atom? Between modules, which seems like a weird thing to restrict you from doing, but it's the best idea I have right now. It doesn't sound right, but if we get this game state, and if the first thing we try to do when we require the function is print it, we get it back. Okay, so that's obviously not it. Game state. What if we take game state out of the equation entirely, get back to register player, and just temporarily do this. Just send it some strings. Player and the game code. Strings are indeed the problem we're having with it. Okay, made changes there, made changes there. Haven't made any changes here, but we need to load the namespace to restart the server. So we restart it, go back to the front end. We have a socket connection. Join the game. We sent the thing. We get the error. Java lang string cannot be cast to Clojure function. Oh, def ev message. The problem is with this function. Line 50. So it's the function itself. If we go back to players, and we say like register player name ev message game code ev message, what do we get back? Null pointer exception. Well, good debugging practice at the very least, isn't it? We need a like a get in ev message. Let's make this easy. String cannot be cast into a function. That's on line 50. That's what happens when we take this over here. Alright, register player. Add this namespace. We're going to get the exact same result as we did here, but you know what, let's use that debugging method I used yesterday. Def player glad def game code dead. You know what? I know what this is. We need the keys. Because we got this string named dead, but we need that to be a key because we're accessing the game state according to the key of the string. So, right, is that like key function, keyword? That's it. Okay. I know what this is. Register player. Alright, so we got game states. And game states. Name data. And instead of game code data, we also need to keywordize keyword. That's it. This will work now. I fear to guarantee that it'll work, but I feel like it will. Okay. Restart. Back to the front end. Join the game. No error. No error. Wrong number of args. Okay, so we only passed 2, but we need to pass 3. That's 2. You sure, man? Do we not have handlers? Oh, I'm gonna get so much better and faster doing this someday. That day is not today. But you gotta start at the start. Wrong number of args past register player. Where's the error coming from? Man, I'm pretty sure I passed 3. Register player. Register. Test code from before. Yep. Oh, but you know what? I bet if we pp print, we'll have added a whole bunch of glods. Well, somehow lost that game. But if we go back here, we tell Clod to join that game. Blink. Nope. Alright, I think we need to remove all of our test debug code. Yep. Yep. Restart. Oh, pretty print. Restart. Back to here. Join the game. Pretty print. Pretty please. Okay. Wow. Okay, we got glide in there. That's good. All right. And we got some good debugging practice in, and we should have listened to Clojure when it told us the string was not a function, because we were using string like a keyword. Yeah, it's great. We're good. And we also discovered a source of probable frequent errors, because I suspect I'm going to be like kind of transforming things from like a string to a keyword and a keyword to a string and vice versa. So when I see that, I'm going to remember, hey, maybe I'm trying to access a property in a map with a string when really I should use a keyword. So that was a good experience. All right, great. Cool, man. So we can add a player. We can add a player according to a game code. That's huge. Okay. Great. So 11:24 a.m. EST, Thursday, January 21st. I bet we can get at least one more template into the game. I'm going to stretch and say we can call one more function with it. Or at least transition to the next page. That might be a better goal. So after you register, you go to the game lobby. Wrong lever. Clients. Where am I? I'm in the wrong place. Okay, layout. Nope, contents. Lobby. Here it is. All right. Oh, this is cool. So now I'm gonna get data from the server. I've been sending data to the server, but now I need to get it. All right. pages, register, lobby. Lobby. Great. And we had these like player functions, which obviously aren't going to do anything, so I will just get rid of them for the time being. Oop. And I'll make that into an li. Slurp forward, but only for the first one. If there's any Calvin maintainers watching, it would be great to be able to slurp for multi-line selection. All right. Example of front-end pages lobby. Let's get into the app, shall we? All right. And actually, we need to get into the registration page. Oh. Here's an interesting topic we have not touched whatsoever in React via Clojure script, which is front-end routing with reagent. So, yeah, getting this to the point where we can even request this data from the. Well, you know what? Let's save this for off screen. This is a bunch of boring debugging. Yeah, is that the point of the live stream, Andy? Is it to show people your process? Not for the time being. Let's go here and just like render that page for registered game. Oh, sample.frontend.pages.lobby for lobby. Instead of the register game stream, let's just render the lobby screen. Static, simple thing. Reload. Cool. All right. So we got a list of characters, and yeah, let's. Well, first things first. Let's get that styling right, because I had this like player thing with a. Well, you know what? I also had a more involved results list item. Yeah, let's copy this function in because I could use that when I'm actually rendering the players from the backend data. All right, lobby. Here we go. Player. Don't player hates. Let's undo all that work I did. It's all for a good cause, don't worry. Okay, now if we refresh, we got some nicer looking player names. Okay, so now we here's an interesting question too. How do we request this stuff on load? A let block, I would presume. Let's players. Get player list. Now we need a reference to a game code, so not knowing how to thread the needle, just hard code one for now. Get player list by game code. Player list game code. Let's do something silly for now. Let's fix our namespace woes. Define get playlists. Nothing changes because we're not using it. Oh, I've caused a React crashing error. We got a big old stack trace. Player.call is not a function. I think I need the braces instead of the curlies. These aren't curly braces, these are parens. Need the parens, need the square brackets inside of the parens, because we're working in reagent. But still not right. Invalid tag. Player, I've player list, yep. Alright, error's gone. Great. Alright, so now I assume every time this thing re-renders, it's just gonna like call this function, or at least I would expect. JS console log, do I get called on component mount? Let's find out. I don't. I do. This whole like hot reloading-ish in reagent is a bit different than one would expect. And maybe I've gotten used to the behavior of Figwheel, and this Shadows CLJS tool does it a little bit differently. So anyway, you could call them component mounts, so this is where we request those players. Okay, now we need to figure out how to actually write that. So in our handlers, I don't even think we have a function for that yet. So in the interest of time, because I only have a half hour left, game state starter, get movies. Yeah, let's just like call get movies, even though that's not the data we actually want. Alright, so we're going to call this channel sockets get player list. We're going to get movies according to. Is this even taking arguments? I know I wrote a docstring for it, so I can see right here in line. 0 args but expects 2. Hi, hello. Get movies expects. Sure expects something. A number and a movies list. So now we need the movies object. Refer that as well. Give me 3 movies. Alright, so I seem to remember some business with a callback function. We just say like pp print the result of calling that for now. We need that. Need to require that. Instead of just logging, we will channel socket send a message. The ID will be chusk register player, and the data will be it's just wrapped up in one object. Hi, hello. Alright. Yeah, so I think this is another trip to the sent docs. More lack of results. Okay, so a handler. Optional callback. reply function to reply to a particular client event using an arbitrary EDN value. Reply function. Present only when the client requested a reply. Alright. So now if we look for a reply, man, so much documentation, but client to the server. Such a hard thing to do anything actionable with. So I think our next course of action is going to be to check out an example project. This is a YouTuber I've seen around. Gets this Australian lady to narrate his videos for him. It's kind of funny. He'll like do these Clojure screencasts, but he won't. Map fatigue. Clojure's Clojure script library empowers you to write transparent data transformation code that allows you to plainly see the input and output of these transformations. Something cool to look up later, but really what I want is your source code, man. Main. Nope. Communication. Well, seems kind of obvious that that's the place to look in retrospect, doesn't it? Okay. Channel socket URL. Okay. So that did not seem to have what we need. Is there a project that sounds like it would involve replies? That's UI, login, wiring of components. Chat app. Could be. I'm gonna say that's way too involved. Sent with rage and reframe. Blackjack. I've read this before. This is fairly involved, but remittance application. Jordy LaForge 49. Had a callback? Nope. callback reply. Okay, so that's encouraging. This is a timeout value, I'm pretty sure, and then that's our callback function. So how about you just copy this into a few parens. 5 seconds seems a bit long, but you never know on the internet. Alright. Channel socket send. No documentation available. Interesting. Send that message. Right. Okay. With that callback. With that. Lose output. Print. That was not the thing. Oh, who cares? All right. Let's just wrap this in string to avoid potential heartache. And let's wonder why we have a bunch of mini brackets. Cool. Okay, so we were here, and now we need to see that callback. Indeed, it did. All right, so now we need to go into their server code. We need to find example button 2. Oh, this is still front end. What? Oh, was I looking at server code? Client in the server? Clojure. Main ring handler, test fast server, broadcast, broadcaster, the message handler, okay, so here's our reply function. So first things first, we need to get that into our server code. Data, the reply function, the event. Then what do? They say reply function with this object. Yeah, so I guess I can just like send it some random thing back. For the time being. Apply function with the hey, did it work? Load the handlers, load the main, restart the Clojure, go to our client and reload, because all of this functionality happens on load. Whoa. Send is not a function. Channel socket send that data. Let's call that a 500 millisecond timeout. So it appears that we have not passed the arguments correctly to the function. Or at least I would guess that's what's going on. No, it's something else. Well, if we copy this for later, Control C all the way back to the start of time. Save and reload. Does it work? It doesn't. So what's our error? Channel socket send bang call is not a function. I think it is, man. I think it is. Let's just comment that out for now. Comment that out for now and see if we can get to a place where something loads. Okay, something loads. And now the mystery is why we cannot refer channel socket send here when we're perfectly content to require it there. Okay, right above parens. Exact same thing as before. And if we copy that, what happens? We break our page. Oh, I copied it, so I know. Add channel socket send. Oh boy. This dereferencing thing is going to be the death of me. Perfect. Okay, so now we have... Oh, they didn't do that. Yeah, the code I copied didn't do that. Oh, because they probably didn't save it in an atom. They probably just required the function. That's why. Okay. Okay, let's now copy that. We will load the namespace, even though we don't have to. We'll reload. Right. Oh, so we need to have the channel open. We can't just call this immediately on load. So how do we check if the channel's open? How do we open a channel? Just doing these on button clicks instead of loads, so presumably there's something here which will connect. Could we wait to have a start router socket channel? I think our socket channel is this. Socket channel state. I don't know what that is. Can't we like wait for a channel to be open and then request the players? There's a function called repeatedly, which I think may be helpful here. Repeatedly if we had like a until function called with a repeatedly function, like repeatedly check if this thing has a value and then call this function when it does, that's kind of what I want to do right now. Take a function of no arguments, presumably with side effects, and returns an infinite lazy sequence of calls to it. Repeatedly take 10. Is that like an until? Sad or chicky. I get that at least once a day. I love that. Cheat sheets. Clojure cheat sheet. I want to see that one more time. It's so good. Okay. Lazy sequence, primitives, strings, transducers, collections, spec, IO. No, nothing in there. Functions, special forms, vars in a global environment, abstractions. Records, types, namespaces, loading. Concurrency. I don't know what a future is. Threads, volatiles, miscellaneous. Refs and transactions. Observer. There's another concept called an observer where you're like watching some kind of like mutable thing and calling functions when it changes. Watches. Ooh. Watch. Ooh. Ooh. Curious. This is a built-in language feature. I'm gonna do a backflip. And to watch function to an atom. That's exactly what. That's exactly what I want. Agent. I haven't seen that function before. It's an agent. It's like the term actor model comes to mind. It returns an agent with an initial value state and 0 more options. Key, atom, alt state, new states. Yeah, that's what I want. That's definitely what I want. So, right. Lobby. Add watch. To the A, so now we need to refer the... let's check out what the state is too. I don't really know what that is. So the send function, the channel sockets connection, I presume, and the channel socket state, which might just kind of be there, and there's like nothing going on. Ooh, this is very exciting. Add a watcher to the sockets. A watcher to the state. Pern. Is that available in Clojure script? We'll find out soon. What? you got a bunch of old, stinky code, man. Change that variable. I paid the bill. I paid the bill. 11:56. Okay, if we can figure out how to watch for changes on this thing, then we can figure out how and when to call our player list request function, and that'll set us up real well, because then we can kind of pull data from the server. We know how to send it to the server with WebSockets. We don't know how to pull it yet, but we will soon. We will soon. Alright, build completed. Back to our code, wherever that might be. Console. Refresh. Ooh. Old state, new states. The state changed. Okay, the key is the watcher, the atom. Old state was nil. Yep, new state is open, false, ever open, false. So we never changed the states. I wonder if that was just in there as like a example of a good thing to do. States. So this comes from that make channel socket client thing. I'd really like to know what that does, but we have determined no channel socket changes, that this is the point at which we can take a look at our code. So yeah, just for the sake of it, getting something to happen, how about we do that? So right, key atom, old state, new states. Yeah, so instead of this stuff, how about we say right when if not equals nil new state get our player list. When not new state. We'll need to call function. Yep. One too many parens, one too few, one too few. It's, can't call that function because it's not been defined yet so far as the language is concerned. Get player list with the game code. Alright, we'll get back to our clients. We'll load the page. An error will occur. Something to do with our code. Probably is. I suppose logically speaking it must be, but what is it? When not equals nil new states. Wrong scope. That makes sense. That's a problem I understand. Yeah, let's just leave that function in for kicks. That's where our paren problem came from. Format code. So now we got a watcher, we go back to the game, we refresh, we're looking for an oh yeah, and we're getting an error. So no error lies here. So how do we just comment that out? Oh yeah. We do get called on component mounts, but we call the wrong function the wrong way. Maybe it has to do with our code. I suppose it must, logically. This must be the problem. So we do have the handshake, right? Like, we got that down. We have established a connection. So... channel socket send, hi, hello. We're sending the wrong data? It seems like a server thing to me. Yeah, let's do this the extra dumb way. Just wait a couple seconds. So that error is from before. Yeah, so maybe we need the channel socket and the send function. I wonder when and nuts equals nil send function. I wonder if that could do it. Oh. I guess that was it. We didn't have our function. Which is a little weird, because it looks like the send would be like reset before the... Man, is that watcher like literally firing like after this reset but before this reset? I guess that must be what occurred. So yeah, we were trying to call this function even though our channel socket state had changed, our send function state had not yet changed. So, interesting thing to know. But the question now is whether we can send a player on page load. We can't. I don't think it would be because we're calling that function incorrectly, because whether or not the message is like correct or not is kind of in the domain of the server itself. I don't think that would crash the front end app. So, back to the dumb way. I just want to get us to do something. This is obviously not the way we're going to do it in real life. But I'd like to see something on my page, man. I'd like to get a log. Oh. So I'm calling it here, you silly Billy. Man, I have this right the whole time. It was just because it was like in the body of my component. It might have been, but now it's still not working. Losing steam. Losing steam. I feel like I want some lunch. Yeah, maybe 2 seconds is not enough. I'm gonna try a longer timeout, and then I think I'm gonna let this sit for a little while. This is proving to be quite difficult. Reload. All right, so we sent the thing. I gotta wait for a while. Boy, what was I even trying to do? I'm so lost. Get player list, that was it. Yeah, we were trying to do that reply function. Right, that was this code. Channel socket send, nope. Get player list. Alright, we'll try this once. If it doesn't work, we're gonna call it. pointer exception. Alright, one more time to the syntax. Not quite done. Not quite done. Well, yeah. I'm lost. Made a little bit of progress, but I'm feeling super lost, so I think we're going to call it. But anyway, we actually got a lot of stuff done. We got the game registration finished, so we figured out like sending things to the WebSocket connection. Notably, we figured out how to do that after some time has elapsed on the client itself. So there is the struggle of like waiting until the socket connection is open before actually sending a socket message. So there must be some better way to do that than what the ideas I've had so far. But anyway, we got that figured out, and we almost did like a round trip thing where we like requested information from the server and then got it back in a round trip to enter the player list for the game. So making a little bit of progress. It's slow, it's tedious, but once we get through these weird roadblock things, I think we're going to get ahead of full blast. So anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching through that if you made it through the whole stream. Hopefully next time we'll be a little more successful. But until then, sayonara.